Yeah, Week's End Special Edition. Ryan, what the hell are we doing on our cameras at 9 o'clock at night when our families want to be spending time with us, but we're reprioritizing to talk about DC fandom? What are we doing here?
It's called #priorities. I don't know, man. It's been a long week, and we just thought we would have a special week's end to talk about some events.
Wait a minute. Maybe we have to do a little Batman. Wait, no, I got to point this way. Batman versus Superman going on here.
I know, right? It's
I don't know. I don't know what's
dark,
going on. But look at you. You're all jacked with your abs and everything.
Cool. I know. Well,
I'm just dad bod Superman.
I've been spending a lot of time on this. It's really.
I know you have been. You've been working it, bro.
It's really starting to pay off, I think. So
I think you did the keto diet for like 25 minutes, and it worked.
If I could take off this bat signal, you would really see the definition. But unfortunately, that's not how the armor works. So
I got a lot of this going on. So let's talk about DC fandom. What a day, man!
Whoa, hang on. Let's just set up everything here. So we want to talk about. You and I had this talk about like what's going on in the world right now with virtual events. And
what's going on?
Virtual conventions, right?
Yeah.
You got your virtual cons, you got your digital experiences, you got your digital release movies and cinema type stuff. And then you've got like the resurgence of drive-ins. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And the thing before we get to DC, I wanted to mention what's coming up next weekend, which we've already mentioned on the show, but there's a confluence of things that are also geeky. Bill and Ted 3 is premiering on the 28th, right?
So pumped for Bill and Ted 3, dude.
Yeah.
I can't wait to spend a couple hours with my friends, Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan, and get to meet their daughters and families. That is going to be a fun movie. My whole family is excited to watch that.
I know, right? I can't even and then on the same day, for all you Marvel fans out there, well, it's a little bit of a one universe, the Fox world merging into the sort of the so we've got the New Mutants, and I don't know if you saw the latest trailer, but I this week
very excited about the New Mutants.
It's like I used to read the New Mutants back when I was a teenager, and the movie looks like a teen horror flick in like an insane asylum, and it's really
but like with mutant powers, and that's just what I want.
Hilarity ensues, right? That's
psyched, man. I'm psyched.
So
let's talk about virtual events for a minute.
Let's talk about virtual events.
So we've got all of that going on, and the thing is, Ryan, is I think all too often people underestimate the pivot, the complexity of the pivot. Excuse my popping here on the mic. That had to happen to take us from live in-person events, conventions, fan shows, all these things that we all love to go to this digital format.
Right.
It's a really, really hard thing to do. It's not just you shoot a bunch of videos and you put it up there. It all has to be timed like a live event. Now, there's been two great examples of virtual events outside of the things you and I do for work. Right now, you and I do a lot of work on virtual events with the company that we work for, and we do some good stuff there. But besides that, I'm talking about what's happening in this world. And the two examples that I've seen have been the Democratic National Convention, which I'll give you it had some challenges. Like you could hear producers talking, there were some switching issues, but my God, they pulled it off, and they pulled it off spectacularly. The roll call of states I thought was stellar. Yes. And then the DC fandom, which you and I are going to spend a few minutes talking about. Those are two great examples of things that I know, I guarantee you they plan to do all of that in person. They've been working on this stuff for a long time and then had to pivot to these virtual experiences. And I thought that they were just fantastic. Ryan, what do you think?
Well, I agree with you. And I do think I want to mention there was a blog post that was written by some of the team members at IBM that talked about taking our flagship conference, Think, to a digital, only event. We'll post that in the links. We're not going to talk about it tonight. You and I have done that for other conferences within the company as well. I thought the interesting thing about the Democratic Convention was, yes, it felt more human than the live event normally would be. Because normally it's just a bunch of it looks like a rock concert with a bunch of people shoved in a... And
it's hard to hear them. It's hard to hear what they're saying.
Yeah, they're just all sort of there, in a big crowd that's yelling and screaming, and you don't really know who they are. Right.
I thought it was great. I really liked it. It was
So
very
seeing
genuine,
people,
very
I think
diverse.
that's a major takeaway, and I think it's another example of when you go digital, something that actually benefited them was seeing the diversity coming from every state.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. And honestly, even when we get back into in-person conferences and we go back to these political conventions being live for both the Democrats and Republicans, I hope they do the roll call that way from now on every year, because it was so fantastic to get a little sampling of our great nation. So
Sure.
I
thought another nice touch was at the end of, they had a lot of great storytelling and different segments.
All right, so we've lost Ryan. I don't know where he went. He just suddenly disconnected there. But you know what? Let's take a minute to step into Graham's corner. So without Ryan on the show,
wait, I'm back.
Oh, okay, there he is.
I literally went and swiped my mouse. I swiped my mouse pad by accident, and it went back to the previous screen.
I saw that,
and I was like, "Did I kill the feed? I guess not." You could just take the show from here, right, Graeme?
I got it, buddy. I really don't. You're just kind of a pretty face at this point.
You're the Kryptonian. You've got the superpowers. I'm just a detective sitting over here in my cave.
You're just the booth babe to my.
Right. So let me show you something. Let's take a little social pause. I know we have some people watching tonight, and I just wanted to show you. I know we talked about pizza skulls on the last episode with the mold. I couldn't help myself. I also got skull ice molds. So I've got skull ice molds now, silicone, and I'm gonna make myself a drink while we're waiting in my custom 19. I think when was so this was the Batman movie.
Full disclosure, I don't know what the deal with the skulls is. This has been an ongoing thing with Ryan. I'm getting a little worried.
Come on.
I don't know what the deal is. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear that? I was just talking to the audience. I'm sorry. I didn't know you heard that.
I think I used to be a goth or something. I was really into The Cure and like Joy Division. So look,
hold on a minute, because I've seen photos of you from your yesteryears and you were no goth.
I know. I was more of a
dude, that's rocking. Is that an original?
So, this is original. This is Val Kilmer. I have the whole set of these. This is McDonald's. If you look on the bottom.
Huckleberry. Of course.
So it's got the.
Are you loving it?
The question mark from the Riddler, right?
So I totally know that.
These are some fancy ass drinking glasses. So I'm going to make myself
very appropriate after we just saw the Riddler.
Exactly. I know.
Hey man, let's talk about DC fandom.
Okay,
we're like beating around the bush here, and I just want to talk about DC. So let's talk about something before we actually dive into all the different things. I think what we saw today, by the way, besides it being a really cool virtual event, I think what we saw today is, and I'm gonna quote my buddy Roby here, David Robichaud, one of the VPs over at Bridgewater State University, my alma mater. I'm gonna quote Roby, and I'm gonna say, it really starting to seem like DC is making a run for Marvel here. Now, I'm not saying it's the same level. I got Cap Shield back here. I'm not. It's still apples and oranges, but what I'm saying is DC is really bringing their A game right now. And I thought Wonder Woman 84 looked fantastic. I look forward to talking about that. The Batman looks fantastic. I'm excited about the Snyder Cut, and I don't care that it's a remake of a movie that was already made and they just redid it with some additional footage. I don't care.
Right.
I'm still excited about it.
Right.
The thing I like about DC movies is they never take themselves too seriously. They're a little bit, I don't know. They're just fun. Like Aquaman was just fun, man. But you look at Joker or you look at the Batman. No, dude, we're going into new territory here, and I'm excited about it. How do you feel about that, Ryan?
So I feel the same way because I'm OG DC when it comes to comic book reading. So I started out with DC. I was always Batman fan from early days. And so I was always like Batman and a little bit of X-Men. So I was never.
I'm listening.
I was never that into Marvel, honestly, until later years. Until honestly, when the film series came out, I couldn't care less about the Avengers.
Like this guy. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I could care less, but I would say that. I don't know, man. I still don't think that they're really like, oh, one's better than the other. It's just two very different things, and I have always loved Batman. So
right.
And Superman. I mean, those were the big deals when we were kids, man. So Iron Man was what, 2009?
Yeah. No, you're right. No, and they're epic, right? But here's my point.
They are.
The difference that I see with DC is that it's quirky.
That's what I mean. I
Like
love it.
the
Quirky. That's a
characters,
good term.
the characters. You're right. They don't take themselves that serious. Some of them are inspirational, like Wonder Woman. But then you've got these other just bizarre things happening with the Suicide Squad, and it's like turning the notion of a hero upside down. And
Yeah.
and you've got things that are, frankly, a lot of the, when you get down technically speaking, like the powers of the superheroes, a lot of them are derived by the occult and magic and like mystical things, and that's very different from Marvel.
Yeah, Carrie and I watched. We watched Harley Quinn, the Emancipation of Harley Quinn, or Birds of Prey. Sorry, I couldn't get the first few words out there. We watched Birds of Prey again last night. Man, that is just a stellar film, beginning to end. I love that movie. We love that movie. Love Harley Quinn. Was very excited to see her talked about for the Suicide Squad. But let's start with Wonder Woman, because that was the first trailer. Did you see anything before that? That was the first thing I saw.
No, that was the first thing. That was the first panel of the day.
Loved it.
And frankly, that was a great way to kick things off, I think, because everyone, I think, is super excited about the vibe of this film because it's set in the 80s.
Yeah. And, I like how they open up with showing her as a little girl, but yet she's this unbelievably fiercely powerful creature already. I mean, when they show her riding as, later on as Wonder Woman, she's riding the lightning. Like, what? That's awesome. I've waited forever to see that in a movie, right? I mean, she was such a great character on Justice League and then there was, in the end of the trailer when Steve had his fanny pack on, I was in support of that. That's me with my fanny pack on.
Got a little surprise for you here, a little flashback.
Trafalgar Square.
Is this the 80s for you?
So this is the early 90s. I'm in Trafalgar Square in London when I spent a summer in England, and I'm rocking the denim with tie-dye and a fanny pack. I mean, dude, it does not get cooler than that. That's awesome. Anyway, Wonder Woman trailer, man. What did you think? I loved it. Look at that.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we're going to get rid of that for a second. Okay. Wonder Woman trailer. So we decided we're not going to show things on this show. We will put links in the show notes. But the trailer, I'm excited. You know what the most exciting thing for me is? When I saw Wonder Woman lasso a lightning bolt.
That's what I'm talking about. When she was riding the lightning.
I'm like, what?
Yes, dude. And I thought it was funny when Steve's like, I'm such a good flyer, they'll never catch me. And she's like, I forgot to tell you about radar. And he's like,
I love again, I like that kind of humor. I like the rapport between them. It very much, the new kind of relationship they've made between Chris Pine's character and Gal Gadot is really, it just works.
So good. So good. Anyway, check out the Wonder Woman 84 trailer. It's fantastic. Ryan, let's talk a little bit about fan art, because we saw some stellar art today.
We did. So for me, so this was something that I think the DC fandom it really excelled at, is they showed so many like vignettes that were focused on all of the fan submissions. And they mentioned at one point that they actually had over 28,000 questions submitted for this event. Think about that for a second. And
that's half the amount of emails I get on a Monday morning.
Right. And so of course they didn't go through all those, but every panel, every talk, every segment that they did was literally going through examples of these questions or literally bringing fans on screen. And I loved that was really cool. Did you see the portfolio review that Jim Lee did with the guy? And he brought his art, and he literally did
I was probably mowing my lawn at that point
and talked about the art. And for me, I'm like, that's the kind of thing that takes place at a con, but usually like you or I would be like standing 100 feet away in line, just trying to get a peek of it. Yeah. And with the virtual event, you can you're getting a front row seat to all of those fan interactions that you normally wouldn't get.
Yeah. I think there's going to, even when we get back to regular way things will be in the future, I'm not going to say the way they were, because it'll always be different. I honestly think it'll be a hybrid of this moving forward, because this experience has raised the bar in accessibility and feeling like you're part of the action and being up close that we just don't get. Now, You will never totally replace the in-person cons. People love it. That'll happen. It's great. It should, but I think there'll be hybrid.
Yeah, it's got to be because. And the other thing was and I wasn't even expecting this. I don't know why, but every single host, and they had sort of a new host almost between every segment, except for a few celebrities that led panels that were literally like fans from different parts of the world, right? So the whole international like feel and using, all the different languages from the different geos, and you saw this really coming to life in social media as well.
Yeah, I loved
it. It was amazing because it felt like a global party.
But Ryan, it was like the why is my camera out of focus? What the hell's going on here? It was like the roll call at the DNC. It felt diverse. Yeah. It felt real. Yeah. It felt like all of us. It felt like the representation of who it actually is, not a bunch of people on a floor screaming at each other. And you get that same shit at a convention.
True.
Right?
Yep. You're absolutely
right. Let's talk about before we go to Suicide Squad, what did you think of the Flash's new suit? I thought it was really cool.
I thought it was cool, and honestly, I'm not like I haven't followed the Flash in the comics or anything, so no. my only exposure to the Flash is literally the TV series and the super old cheesy one, which was I did watch that, and then I have not watched the CW series at all. And I love Ezra Miller in the movies. So,
but remember the show that came out when we were in high school, and it was with John Wesley Shipp. Remember that? He was the Flash, and it was really, really good. So that was where I started to like the Flash. Was the show that came out in the 90s,
right?
Back in, I know a lot of you millennials that are watching this don't realize,
right?
But that was a real year.
There was like a whole nother century where some of this.
Wait a minute, millennials came of age in 2000, so that joke didn't. I retract that. I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah, man, I like the Flash, but I'm like with you.
For me, like there was a clip on what is it? The Overkill Twitter that we follow. Overkill Blast, is that what it's called?
Oh, Ultra Blast.
Sorry. They put out a Super Friends clip tonight, and it was like the intro to the cartoon of Super Friends, like the intro.
I'm gonna put that out on Twitter right now.
I watched that show religiously
my god, dude! Every week.
every Saturday morning, right? And that used to be the ritual for guys, kids of our age, of our generation. You got up at like 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and you watched like a good.
God! I'm looking at it now.
A good 3 hours worth of cartoons, and that was one of them. That was awesome, right?
What was your go-to sugar cereal?
Back then, it would have been either Frosted Mini Wheats or Frosted Flakes. I'm big on the Frosted.
Nice, I like that. My parents were jerks. I wasn't allowed to have sugar cereal.
Well, I wasn't allowed to have it either. Those are the ones that I could sneak every now and again.
Every morning in my house, it's like chocolate chip muffins and cinnamon toast crunch and donuts for the kids. I don't care. All right, I want to get to.
Before we leave Flash, one more thing. Freeze frame. All right. There was a moment that they showed that had the crossover. It had a crossover clip, and I'm not sure if it was from the Infinity. I don't know if it was from the Infinity crossover in the TV or just something else, but it was like Ezra Miller's Flash with the TV Flash, and they were
it's the multiverse one that's right. It has to do with the show, I think. So all I know is I'm really excited about that too.
Each other's suits, and that was funny. So
that's what's gonna lead us to get it. That crossover, my understanding, and I could be wrong. So nerds out there, correct me on the Twitters.
Right.
My understanding is that crossover is what is going to lead us to getting
Flashpoint.
To getting the Michael Keaton Batman.
So that's what I wanted. Let's mention that in case nobody was paying attention to social media like we were. Really,
that's happening. Michael
Keaton and Ben Affleck, aka Batfleck, are coming together in a single movie, and it's going to be called Flashpoint, and it's all this. It's the multiverses coming together, which that really honestly has me.
And it's not cameos; they're major roles. You see them.
So here is an unpopular opinion. I'm more excited about that, and I'm not even into Flash, than I am the new Batman movie, and I'm going to tell you why in a few minutes.
Okay, so I'm with you on that, but we'll get there. Let's go on to. Can we go on?
Yeah, let's go.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Hold on. I just want to double check. Hey Gary, it's Graeme.
Oh yeah,
Gary, are you watching? Oh, I'm so glad, man. Hey, listen, we're gonna move on from the Flash to the Suicide Squad. Are you cool with us moving on? All right. Thanks, Gary. Thanks for watching again, buddy. Hey, Gary said it's okay, so we can move on.
Cool.
Gary's our producer, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, he got a promotion this week. I don't know if anybody.
He did get a promotion. He went from super fan to producer. So let's talk about the Suicide Squad, because here's the thing on that, Ryan. I really, really like that movie, just Suicide Squad that they did a few years ago. I really liked it. I know everybody said it was awful.
I loved it.
I loved it.
My
family loved it. We've watched it multiple times. Okay, sure, it has some issues with it, but not like Batman versus Superman or Justice League issues. I mean, it's a good movie, and of course, Birds of Prey was also fantastic. So here's what I liked about the Suicide Squad James Gunn. First of all, anything James Gunn touches, I'm in. Second of all, I like how this is like the original comic book cast. It's just a huge Suicide Squad. I also like how people whose characters were in the first movie that are being carried over to this movie, they kept the same actors and actresses, and I thought that was quality.
Yeah, agreed.
So I'm very excited about this movie. I didn't see a trailer today. I saw the cast and then the behind the scenes stuff, but there's no trailer, right?
It was just the behind the. Well, it was they did a video that was like the intro cards of who was who
of all the squad.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but I'm psyched about that. How about you? Where are you on your Suicide Squad feeling?
I'm psyched about it, and I'll tell you why. It's the same reason you just said, which is, look at how many characters there are.
Look at that.
It's insane, and it's quality. It's random. It's everybody from Idris Elba. How do I? I can never say his name. So can you say it for me, please?
Idris Elba.
Okay, that guy. All the way to Pete Davidson.
Yes.
Right.
So, when they introduced Pete Davidson, he was like, "Yeah."
Right. He was like, "I guess I'm supposed to be here." Okay.
Yeah.
But my whole point is, you know what's going to happen with Suicide Squad, right? It's like 2 of these people are going to die in the first 5 minutes on the mission, and that's just the way it rolls, right? It's going to be cool, I think.
Yeah, but that's cool. And did you see the poster, the Suicide Squad fandom poster that James Gunn put out on his Twitter?
Yep.
By the way, also just looks amazing with Harley right up front. And I love how it just says, "Boom." I love that.
Agreed. Well, and I just liked the introduction was really neat with the way they I liked that they kept, I think the reason I liked the original movie, the movie that came out 2 or 3 years ago, was that it had like this goofy comic book aesthetic to it.
Yes.
And the fact that they're keeping like a version of that with this is really cool.
And I thought it was cool how they remember they showed the people who were trying to get Harley in Birds of Prey. They showed the people who were trying to get her, and then the grievances, and one of them was voted for Bernie. Right. It was just fun, man. It was just a fun movie. Polka Dot Man. I mean, look at this shit. That's crazy.
No, I know. It's some really obscure folks, and I'm down for that. It's really cool.
So the next, go ahead.
Nope, I'm waiting for you.
The next one I wanted to go to was one that I am sorry to say I am not familiar with, but because The Rock is in it, I am going to make myself very familiar with this character, Black Adam. Again, the Rock, I'm buying whatever The Rock is selling, right? I mean, I'm in. So and when and what they're even showing with this concept art as this sort of teaser that they create is just concept art. Even the concept art looks amazing. I can't wait to see it. But I don't know who he is. Do you know who Black Adam is? It kind of looks like Shazam. Is that who it is?
So it's someone from that same sort of universe. Yes.
Okay. Because he's got the same pattern.
Right. So he has the same sort of powers. But think of him as like a kind of like an evil version of Shazam in a way. But he is a hero. He's just he's an anti-hero because he thinks kind of like Lex Luthor, I guess, in a way that he is going to mold things in his sort of vision of the way things should be. Okay. So when you think about like his version of justice is like his way or the highway, and so that
sounds awesome.
Here's the thing: like The Rock was born to play this role, without a doubt.
And it's interesting you're saying he has the same powers as Shazam, but does he have Francis Gary powers? Sorry, Cold War joke. Sorry. You too. You know what I mean.
Oh yeah. So here's the thing: like we all smell what The Rock's cooking. The point here is that I think The Rock has been waiting to play this role for like decades. Like he's known that he wanted to do this, and now it's all coming together. And I loved the taunting of like he's actually like getting kind of method into that Black Adam kind of mentality where he's like taunting, saying that he's more powerful than Superman and he's able to take out the whole Justice League. And, you know, that's kind of who Black Adam is. And The Rock is perfect for that.
I love it. Let's go on to Snyder Cut.
All right. The Snyder Cut.
So I saw the trailer.
Yeah.
So here was my take on that movie. When I saw Justice League, my feeling, what I felt like the director was trying to blur the line between what was the real world and what was sort of a dream world, kind of like was anti-reality kind of thing. So if you just suspended belief in what you were watching was actually happening or imagined to be happening, I thought it was a good movie. Yes, it was problematic. I won't pretend it wasn't. But this looks good. So obviously there's a ton of footage we haven't seen, but you have an issue with it, and I want to hear your issue.
Well, first, I think we have a little bit of a rant about the what they did with the trailer.
Okay.
So hallelujah, right? There's a little bit of it. I don't know. I think I know what they're going for.
You gotta stop using that song, dude. That's my rant of the week. That shit. Okay. Somebody's got to delete that. Just get rid of it.
Yeah. I know what they're trying to do with it. And Zack Snyder, I mean, he used some musical treatments in some of the other trailers, and they worked well. I just think
they were fine.
Yeah, but here's my problem. I was blown away when they announced that the quote unquote release the Snyder Cut movement actually worked, I guess. You know, they decided, if you don't know the backstory, Zack Snyder started making this movie in like 2015, 2016.
Yep.
He had a family issue. He had to drop out. So he literally handed incomplete movie over to our buddy.
Sufficiently advanced incomplete movie, by the way.
Oh yeah. It was pretty much done.
Yeah.
Handed it over to Joss Whedon, and he, let's just politely say, changed everything.
Train wrecked it.
And which is surprising to me. I don't know what happened. I don't know the backstory, but just weird things like, you know, Henry Cavill like filmed all of his parts, and they like with a full mustache, and they like photoshopped it
digitally removed it. Yeah.
And it just looks super weird. So anyhow, weird. A lot of weird things. And when the movie came out, everybody was like, this was what we were waiting for. You know, it was kind of like a little bit of bewilderment. And then this movement started, this international movement. And I thought it was great. Zack Snyder actually interviewed two of the founders of the Release the Snyder Cut movement, one of them from China today on the DC Fandom. And so here's the short version. HBO Max is going to show the film, and everybody's like, hey, yay, we're ready. Show it to us. I'll, plunk down another $10 or $15 a month. But Zach just kind of slid this little comment in today. Oh, it's going to be a 4-episode miniseries.
4 hours.
I mean, come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, but dude, just wait till
No.
you know it's going to all come out at once. Just watch all 4 hours.
I know, and he reassured everybody and said, "Yes, we're going to release it as one film for you to see it in that format if you choose to, and yes, you're going to be able to get it outside of HBO eventually." And that's my problem, is that we've been waiting for 5 years, and then had the movement, and then had them get our hopes up, and now I've got to wait until I thought it was coming out in October. They're actually saying 2021 now, so we've got to wait. So we've got to wait until some indeterminate date to watch HBO over the course of, I don't know, man. That just took the wind out of my sails, because I just want to see the damn movie. Just show me the damn movie.
First of all, let me give you a hug. It's gonna be all right.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You're good. You're good. Now listen, let's finish up talking about the Bat.
Okay,
because I released the Ayer cut. I didn't know what's that.
So
what's this? Why do I know what that is?
Look at what they're talking. So there's another movement of another. There's another cut of.
Suicide Squad.
Yes. So even Suicide Squad that we got, whatever it was, 3 years ago,
forgot about that.
They kind of hijacked that movie too. And we got a little bit of it back when we watched they released the director's cut on Blu-ray. So it adds in some stuff. But again, the story is that if they would have let them do it the way they wanted to, it would have made more sense. It would be more fleshed out. It would, whatever, right?
I'll watch that too. I'll watch that.
Yep. I'll watch that. So just give it to us. Just stop not giving us what we're asking for, folks. That's
give it to us.
That's a business model. Give
this
the
guy
fan
needs his stuff. Give it to him. Give it to him.
You want to talk about the Batman? Let's do that.
The Bat. I want to talk about the Bat. Where does he get those wonderful toys? Because
I know, right?
I, honestly, Ryan, I didn't know what to expect. Robert Pattinson. I mean, we watched him in. I mean, I know he's Twilight and all that stuff, but most recently I saw him in The Lighthouse, which was
weird.
Just an incredible, but an incredible performance. And I had faith in him, but then we watched the trailer, the one that actually leaked just a few minutes before they showed the
Thank God it leaked, by the way.
Yeah. And yes, that's the Batman film I want to see, because Joker, which was a very emotionally striking tale about mental illness.
Right.
And here we are again. I mean, I know that the bat symbol on his chest is built up of the pieces of the gun that was used to kill his parents. Like,
holy
that's
crap.
Crazy, dude. And the Riddler and Zoe, what's her name, as Catwoman. This is going to be a good movie. I am Zoe Kravitz. I'm pumped about this. And I know he's brooding, but like that's what Bruce Wayne is. I just think this looks great, dude. This looks really good.
Jim Lee confirmed that this is going to be year 2 of Batman. So they're not going back to the well trying to show Crime Alley again and all that. Which, thank God, right?
Why? What happened in Crime Alley? Nothing happened to his parents, right? What are you talking about? Is everything all right?
That's my problem with Spider-Man and Batman, is that every time they reboot, we have to waste a whole film on retelling the origin. So they're jumping straight into year 2. We also learned that Matt Reeves, who's helming this film, is also working on a TV production of this same version of Gotham, which they said in the DC fandom today is actually a different multiverse. It's not Earth Prime. It's another Earth. And so they're going to expand on it. They're going to have a TV series that's the year 1 story, which I think is great. And the film itself is year 2. So you're getting a more mature Batman. It's not old man Bruce Wayne, but it's like, I'm in. He's in his groove, right?
I'm in. I'm really excited
and you
about
know
this.
what? This guy, Rob, this guy, he's not hard to look at.
No, he's not hard to look at. He is a handsome man. Now, before we get off the Batman and wrap up for the night, can you tell me what's your deal with? You were alluding to it earlier. You had some. You wanted to talk about the Michael Keaton, which is of course the greatest Batman ever.
Well, yeah. So they had a segment.
I think.
where they had a Joker segment, which was awesome, that had Jack Nicholson. And so I just wanted to mention really quick that you can go to Apple TV and watch a free documentary about the Joker that's got like Jack Nicholson and all the other guys, which is interesting. And then there is for Batman. I mean, we mentioned this, but I'm more excited to see Batfleck and Michael Keaton and all of that. Frankly, I don't know why. I'm just more excited about that than I am this film. And the panel, ending the panel the way they did, the last segment of the fandom was with Matt Reeves and just like 10 seconds of Rob Pat, right? And
Yeah.
It's like it was the most boring thing of the entire event. It was not exciting at all. And so for me, I was much more excited about the video games. I was much more excited about the fan art. I was much more excited about
fan art was the best.
Suicide Squad. I was much more excited about even the, like the I know you might not have watched this yet, but the Titans show that's on the streaming service is amazing. Like that stuff, like I'm so much more excited about those things than I am this Batman movie. I think it looks cool, but I don't know how good it's going to be. So I've got to be convinced. I've got a high bar. And frankly, think about it. After Nolan's trilogy and after, begrudgingly everybody's accepted Batfleck as being pretty cool in his own right. I mean, there's just an incredibly high bar on this. And all I felt like I was getting from that panel with Matt Reeves tonight was a bunch of platitudes that frankly just didn't feel fresh. The design looks fresh, but what they've said about the story, I'm not there yet. But that's just me.
Hold on. Hold on.
Yep.
Hey, Gary, what's up? Oh yeah, you think Ryan's being too hard on the Batman? You want him to chill out a little bit on that panel? All right. Should we wrap it up? All right. I'll let him know. Hey, Ryan, Gary thinks you were being a little too harsh on the Batman, and that we should wrap it up.
Okay. Well, here's what we're going to wrap up with. A little bit of fun here.
I thought you were just like, okay, Graham's talking to his imaginary friend. It's fine.
Yeah, it's cool. I know you like Gary better than me now. Like you guys are like BFFs.
Dude, we're tight.
Let's talk about this. Who is your Suicide Squad Squad character? So explain this for everybody.
If I was going to create... So earlier today I was thinking about the Suicide Squad because obviously I'm completely jacked up on that. That was my thing for the day. And I was thinking about if I had a Suicide Squad character, what would it be? So as we both know, as everybody who knows me knows, as my neighbors know, and my coworkers and my friends and my family and my wife and my kids and my dogs and everything, I am very, very loud. And what I decided was that my character would be called Shattersteel. Now, nice. I know Shatterstar is a character from the Marvel. X-Force and Deadpool. Yeah. I get it, but who cares? This is DC. So I would be Shattersteel, and my power would be that my voice, I can harness it in a way that it will crack, shatter, or destroy any metal. Not necessarily anything else, but any metal, I can destroy it. So Shattersteel made a career going around the world and robbing banks, like vaults and all kinds of vaults, because he had the ability to just smash through and get into anything. Let's not talk about alarm systems. We'll leave that out. So my Suicide Squad character would be Shattersteel. Nice. Who would your Suicide Squad character be?
Well, I wanted to say, I think, every character needs to have a kryptonite or a Achilles heel. I think for you, every time you use that incredibly awesome power, it makes your tinnitus degrade a little further.
You know what? I do have tinnitus, and that is a very good point.
That's
really good. Dude, you're good.
And I think you wear very large pants with suspenders. That's just what I see in my head.
I like that.
Okay, so for me,
like suspenders.
I have a bit of a visual aid here.
Oh my God!
So that
is badass.
The Squelch.
No, God, tell me all about it, please.
No, let me explain.
Please tell me all about this.
This is just a preliminary design. I mean, the film rights are being shopped around, but what it is how like So I would absorb EM energy and like my body would phase so that I could basically eliminate any electrical signal or radar or cell phone, or I could basically negate the technology around me, which makes me like a super ninja. But my Achilles heel is every time I use that power, I absorb that energy and I have to expel it somehow. Hilarity ensues.
I
The
love
squelch.
it. But now
imagine,
think about them teaming up.
Right.
Shattered Steel and the Squelch. I got to
Right.
tell you, that sounds like a really good movie right there.
Coming this fall to the CW, right? Like,
all right.
I think it could happen.
So our Friday, our freeze frame for this week is going to be you pretend to be the Squelch, and I'll pretend to be Shatter Steel.
Okay.
That'll be our freeze frame. This was fun, Ryan. Thanks for taking the time out, buddy, to talk about DC fandom and virtual events. And if you and I were superheroes, who we'd be.
Let's remind everybody where to find us, because we only talked about a brief little bit of what Graeme and I do on the social medias, right? We've been talking about the convention and other virtual events and the DC fandom nonstop. You can find him on Twitter at Graeme Knows. You can find me on Twitter at The Rab. And we'd love to know what you think. So let us know. So it's been fun. Thanks, everybody, for watching this week's Weeks In stream show. Tell us what you'd like to hear about that's nerdy or cool, and you might just get featured on a future episode.
You never know.
You never know. So let's do it, baby. Bum, 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 bum. See you next time, folks.